The Sounds of CCI, copyrights 2020 by Vincent Ballard. Swish, swash, swoosh. And what is that moving in the air? The dare doesn't just merely glare or stare. And is it really there? Is it universal energy, universal synergy, universal kin or we, universal decency that connects astrological through astronomy, not just barbaric or savagely run on me, run on you, run over you or I, or even run us through, down, past, a frown, and sometimes some of us may act a clown, allow ourselves to get down on ourselves rather than get down with it towards survival because of our arrival. Like our awesome good ancestors did, and the cowards hid, and we continued resistance and not taking lightly the distance of whose shoulders that we stand on, stood on, landed on, handed on, something demanded on. And what does our right now system has a handle on, handle off, around, up, under, through, or screw? And are any of us equal to that kind of mechanical nut, mechanical bolt, a little paper clip, or a piece of dust over even a mere mechanical tool screw? What about the sounds of plip, plop, pop, poop, poop, pow, and how to a mere wow? What is up? What is happening? What is what? When is when? Why is why? Where is where? How is how? And can this particular wow, will this particular wow, is it still this universal energy connecting to human decency kind of synergy? Could it involve people mattering, human decency mattering, actions mattering, behavior mattering, continuation mattering, systems mattering, processes mattering, modern false covering up mattering, and money and resources talk, and bull sure helps it terrifically walks? Or is it being barbaric, dialectic, sinister, or the wrong kind of what the world say is a minister, or preacher, teacher, professional, or their chosen somebody, being not even minimally concerned with the referenced universal flow of decency, because the more natural, the more divine and sacred, higher signs of a kind of real higher spirituality and divinity, divineness, not just divisiveness, mere destruction, devastation, self-destruction, self-greed, systematic racism, and its included processes, minimalizing, neutralizing, falsely, savagely surprising, inhumanely arising, or do you care to know? Or remember to keep not lying about even the natural timber the innocent family called natural trees that were misused for lynchings, hangings, misused ships, steps, and what this continuing foolishness thought helps. Are you then one of their players, layers, slayers, cop out Uncle Toms, or their continued wrongs? Oop. Oh. Oops. And here we go. There you go. There it goes. There you go carrying out. They're coming in racist systems, going. There they go again and again. And will we resist again? A gain, a strain, our lane, make it plain. Through their continuous inhumane policies, continued torturing of lands, lives, resources, because there should be a serious redistributing of these reference resources like the lands, even the cut off hands, like with Leopold and the Conference of Berlin, the Scattering of African Conference, where i.e. Leopold and genocide of the Congo of approximately 12 to 16 million darling black people were savagely murdered, killed, assassinated, mainstreamed economically and political played, just like during some of today's precious times. Some are still lying and predator-like laughing, but some are still trying, still resisting, still resiliency, ready, still warriors. And what if this mean or meant we are resiliently ready in our resisting system as warriors, as an acronym? What about the continuing focus of redistributing our lives, resources, individually, collectively, daily, readily, immediately, intermediately, long term, but being careful still about the age-old games, tricks, toys, false treats, battles and wars, and listening to our civilized culture, or the mainstream controlled streets and strategies, and our being like their mere fatback meat, a pawn, their fronting footstool, a misled extension of their continued barbaric behavior, false favor, misused labor. So don't just loosely be their ram, run nowhere. Be running out of foolishness, raging, and not saving yourself, your pathway, your mission, your moment, your divinity, your higher spirituality and sacred divinity, not their empty, convenient mysteries, their myths, foolishness that is passed to you, through you, to run, R-U-I-N-U, break you down, break your spirit down, break your character down, blackball you to be through, break your family down, break your rhythm down, break your community down, hold you in psychological hostage, lifelong stage, like in the blood, sweat, tears, and years of ancient Kemet, which was later called Egypt. Remember, before the Twa people, who were earlier black folks, had blessed what was later called Ireland and even Australia, according to chematologists like Professor John Henry Clark and Infandici Jehudimus and others like our mothers, fathers, cousins, and community that resisted. Yeah, yes, and not merely a guess. Black out. black down, black beat, black whipped, black tricked and pricked. Drops of this continuing blood, sweat, tears, years, struggles, model built-up communities like later Tulsa, Oklahoma, the Greenwood District, and Black Wall Street, and its seemingly black excellence, Wilmington, North Carolina, and the gruesome terrorist savage-like attacks on these awesome and amazing, not talked about or mentioned. A modeled community after the Civil War where black folks worked hard again and again, were trying to have something, do something, regardless before the terrorists came with destruction. White privilege, yet barbaric behavior. Should we misbehave then, but be behavior or myself, and don't be a part of terrorizing yourself or myself because we are designated as the aftermath of the Johnny or Janie come lately with an opportunity to coexist, but remember, move forward, but further remember, be a blessing, but remember, heal, and be a continuous divine creation or a divine being, having a divine human experience because of this blessing. To remember. Remember this. Aura, really, E, explore, M, meaningful, E, experiences, M, maintaining, B, basic, E, empowering, aura, resiliency, for, F-O-R, not far, F-A-R, from, far-fetched, stretched, and wretched. The meritorious manumission of 1710 policy, where the savage-like divide and conquer routine said hello officially again through systematic racism and rudely impact black folks, their lives, their living and legacy. As within the Baker Rebellion in or about 1726 in Jamestown, Virginia, led by a black man from Great Britain that resisted to the point where they brought in the entire military from Great Britain and made quick policies that one, a black man could not marry a white woman, two, could not carry a weapon. That really happened. And why do you think it happened? That one, those ones, those realities to remember, not just be a mere member, a lackadaisical, grandstanding memory, or lost and not found continuous memories, a kind of blacked out if allowed, like not voting out now, not protesting out, not wisely resisting out over and over, not thinking in a wiser mind over matter focus, backed up and backed out, stretched out, but not completely stressed out, give out, but not giving up. And is it only about mentioning, mattering, tipping toe through the tulips with the issue of mattering, not living it with character continuously kind of mattering, playing with the thought of mattering because it is popular and businesslike or economics only, then what about sickly allowing a kind of slavery? And did you get it, got it, or does it have you? Blah, 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 black, and does the individuals with white sheep savagely intimidate, aggravate, and agitate around lives, homes, families, communities, neighborhoods, systems, policies, processing, privilege, and even mere time? And what about the ones out of the white sheets, also in suits, with fooling smiles for a while, destroying more black lives in a pile or piles for miles. A generation to more generation through lost black faces and seriously misled minds from the hands of ones to the involved hands of ones. Blah, 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 backed up, backed out, black what about? The reality of protection, rejection, or systematic selection to destroy, and the watching on of one's another's backs, blacks, blackish, black with human decency, humanity, through universality, and simply with morality and sacred divinity and higher spirituality. Not just in wasting plurality, but through the families, the family sees, familiarities of awesome healing history, and not their mainstream myth and mysteries. Afri, after, Africa with a K, Africa with a C, black and universality, black and decency, black and human decency. How long will those who give a dead, unhearing ear to the savage-like atrocities of inhumane proportions do so? Turn their heads, and so, turn their decency and resources, and so, like the Dred Scott case of 1857 that said that black folks didn't matter and were not human beings at the U.S. Supreme Court level, or like the American eugenics of 1883 that continued the notion of making a mockery of black lives mattering, and further dehumanizing, embarrassing through population control strategies, breeding disrespectful, inhumane acts, along with continuous systematic racism, sometimes involving fairs and circus shows. And are we still being played, not paid, the show? And it should be genuinely no more encouraged, handing our family members over like barbaric savages. And what about the momentum of the reference meritorious manumission of 1710? Yes, this again, reference. What point are we now at? What places have we allowed ourselves to get to, get through, hear through, listen to, listen at, listen for, listen divinely, ... doing our time, doing our thing, dodging our torturing, or deciding our tracks, delivering our troops, dedicating our time, or devoting our testimonies, divining our territories. Space, steps, survival, strategy, system, smiles, standing, struggling, setups, setting up, getting back up, getting it back together, or would we rather do nothing, say nothing, be nothing, or still be treated like nothing? So why don't we not go there, land there, ever, whether, never, whether, that kind of feather? Stay there, but go somewhere and start first from within. Higher spirituality and divinely within. Brother Elder Dr. Wade Nobles reminds us that we must be careful about allowing ourselves to get to a focus that is genuinely anti-Africans or anti-black, which is anti-self, against self. So let us awaken. So really heal, as in healing, harmony, harmonious, balanced. And remember, even in this serious war, like within the acronym, wrestling actual realities, we are still warriors as reference. We are resiliently ready in our resistance system as another acronym. Therefore, this civilized cultural information speaks to that, and its messengers certainly seek to that. Again, not just through culture, but civilized cultural information through the works of one of our first ever to head national economic efforts, and the works of Dr. Claude Anderson as an example. Black Labor, White Wealth, Powernomics, the national plan to empower Black America, Dirty Little Secrets, more Dirty Little Secrets, a Black history reader. The works of one of our own third generation medical doctors, the works of Dr. Francis Cress Welsing, the ISIS papers, and not just wasting time on mere vapors. The works of Mother Drusilla Dungy Houston, the wonderful Ethiopians of the Kushite Empire. She was a founder of schools and other tools. The works of Dr. Joy DeGruy in healing through post-traumatic slave syndrome. The works of our darling sister Harriet Washington in medical apartheid. The works of another darling sister, Michelle Alexander, through the new Jim Crow, mass incarceration in the age of color blindness. The works of Chauncey C.L. McIntyre, through the criminalization of a race, free blacks during slavery. The works of, works with, works on, works through, works to. But please don't forget the civilized cultural information. And it doesn't hurt to get it from those who are descendants of blacks and not their captives, barbarians, predators, pedophiles, perverts, rapists, and the likes. Only and phonily today, protesting today in numbers, not like ever in these kind of numbers, resisting within humanity through decency universally in 2020 to the alleged murders and killings with human feelings. But please be reminded of some of the lessons learned, harmed, earned, burned, that even sometimes turned, warned, and we were savagely forced to farm, sharecropping, their cropping, you and I stopping. So these works of are intended to stand with, stay with, survive with, be allowed with. The works of are not limited to these civilized cultural information messages only, but works a kind of beginning, fitting model standard for those who dare to travel in this reference kind of human decency universally without bars, biases, prejudices, and certainly false legacies by systematic racism and its tools, stews, pools of deception. But those individuals then will resist on, search deeper for the true truths, and not just be limited to the age-old abuses, misuses, like the Mohawk Conference of 1890 on the Negro question, and differentiating between the two constitutions according to former Assistant Secretary of Commerce and author Dr. Claude Anderson. In the 1789 Constitution, 1 through 12 of it gave whites everything, without including blacks in it in any positive. But slavery and inhumane treatment, check it out, reject it out, then exit out too. Therefore, I still speak to the human decency within the universal air, universal energy with synergy. Ha. Ahu. Beyond the same age-old extensions and tricks, slippery pricks of disorder, or later called evil, but can we humbly dare focus on the individual within as within yourself, myself, ourselves individually, continuing and resisting through the sounds, rounds, pounds, relative mounds, even during the relative knockdowns, get back ups, overcoming harsh realities, like in life sometimes multiple stinging of bumblebees, life-like realities, through sometimes person-made, person-laid, person-swayed, a repeated kind of person's raid on one's innocence, not wise or use of senses, reference decency, and then there is a need for civilized cultural information, END, formed, FORMED, 8, EIGHT, shown, SHOWN. The sounds of CCI, or civilized cultural information, speaks also to the universality, energy, and human decency, and the issue of protection, PRO, professional, skilled at a high level within something, tech, TECT, or tech, TECH, to be able to assist or work at, on, or to, and shown, SHOWN, as in something or somebody that surfaces, so protection could be very skilled assistance on the surface, and why not through the civilized cultural information as reference, not just in mattering with lip service, but the impact, repercussions, responses to seasons or of torturing, degrading treatment, inhumane condition, unnoticed destruction of lives, reputation, careers, years, regardless of the false propaganda that one hears. So, what about this reference of the sound of civilized cultural information? Its presence, its focus, its possibilities, its redistributing of decency, universally, and through its connecting humanity, and who will genuinely be one of its extensions, part of its continuing human decency dimensions beyond greed, a misled seed, and stealing deeds, and even the thought of natural weeds. Therefore, are you and I going or coming, tumbling, fumbling, or mere dumping off what? Will civilized cultural information be allowed in your realities, your moralities, your treatment of yourself, yourselves, yours, your possibilities, your get back up, get back together, your refocusing, your uniting in better decency, dedication, dependability, agility, resiliency? And is that the way it could be, can be, caused to be, being, building, bringing, because you and I have universal energy, universal momentum, universal rights, universal light and darkness, higher spirituality, higher circuit signs, higher consciousness, and we are there to get to where we got. The sounds of civilized cultural information is not limited to GPS and more modern day fuss, modern day hidden cameras like fiber optic extensions to further greedy dimensions, deals, steals, and don't forget smarts and intelligence is still not beyond sacred and divine wisdom. As is connected to this civilized cultural information rotation, as in circular divine energy within the individual that is connected to the universal one, astrological, and the cosmos, causing more. So, if this connects with your skill set, be that. Be this. Be those. Be them. And remember your divine purpose, mission, sacred, progressive focus. And not just mere hocus pocus. Through your essence, existence, exceptionality, durability, connection, and pieces of those who you stand from, stay on, stand with, art, black concerns, cultural workbooks, divinity, spirituality, family, poems for our youth. So now, where do you start? Can you start? And reality and opportunity waits on your date. Copyrights 2020 by Vincent Ballard.